94.3 WYBC, the rhythm of the city. I am Wanda Coppage. Thank you for locking it in. As you always do, you know, every now and then, we love to speak to our community leaders to let you, the community, know what is happening in and around town. This weekend, something very special is coming up, and I have two guests here who are going to tell us all about it. Pastor Anthony L. Bennett, he is the lead pastor of Mount Aery Baptist in Bridgeport. And then Miss Gina Simpson, playwright, director of the MAAFA Influence, evoking the pain of the past, building a strong and powerful future. I know they both have very extensive resumes, but we're going to focus on that today. And officially, let me welcome you. Thank you for joining me today.
Glad to be with you. Glad to be with you.
Now, Pastor, I think I want to start with you. Together, you and Miss Simpson are commemorating 20 years, the 20-year anniversary of the production at the church, Mount Aery Baptist, this Saturday, November 2nd.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That's
now,
correct.
I know that this production has showcased in our great state, South Carolina, New York. Give us some background on the significance of this production and why you are celebrating.
Thank you so much for having us share. We began this journey in 2004, where our then sister church, St. Paul Community Baptist Church in Brooklyn, New York, they journeyed with us 2002 and 2003, and then 2004. We engaged in our own production. It was powerful psychodrama involving dance, theatrical vignettes, and other forms of creative arts, with the effort of speaking, sharing the psycho journey of what was it like to be considered fully human in Africa, to then be snatched or negotiated away, and to be then conditioned to believe that you are less than a human, 3/5 human. And so the story itself, MAAFA, comes from the word, which means the great calamity, which speaks about what we call the transatlantic slave trade. And so in 2004, we began our journey of sharing our story, because we believe, as that proverb says, until the lion shares its story, the story will always glorify the lion hunter. Until we tell our story as descendants of enslaved Africans, the story will always rationalize and justify our own brutal enslavement.
Yeah, and this will be telling our stories. Miss Simpson, I want to go to you now. If you can paint a picture for us, give us a deeper understanding of your role in the production.
Well, the role of a writer, producer, director, it is intense. And I say that because as we are writing, and I'll speak for myself, as I write, I am reliving the experiences of our ancestors. And so you really have to have the strength and the capacity to know to reach out for God for healing, because not only do we as writer directors go through and experience what our ancestors have experienced, we also have the responsibility when we cast someone for a scene. We also have that responsibility knowing that that particular individual is going to go through that experience as well. And so that is why it is imperative for us to have a healing team available for cast and for crew, because we are reliving. It's not, as Pastor said, it is a psychodrama. So you pour everything into that particular character, and you need to know how to be able to release the character, the ancestor, and then get to the place where you are at a place of healing so that you can continue to move on in life. So not only is it educational, but it is also something that individuals experience who are part of the cast and the crew, as well as the writers and directors.
Now, Ms. Simpson, as I mentioned when we opened, both of you have a very extensive resume, but your background is as a therapist, correct?
That is presently it is as a therapist. I have been working with the community, advocating for parents and for children since I was 18 years old. That was quite some time, almost 60 years ago. So it evolves as to what I can do, not only as an advocate, but the last 6 years I have been a therapist working specifically with children and families.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, tell us how this production relates to what you do, but you just did a wonderful job of doing that without me even having to ask. So I thank you for that. I'm going to go back to you, Pastor. Tell us the significance. Tell us what this means for the Black church, for the congregation, and why we need to be present for this.
A great question. The question has been raised since our existence here. What's wrong with Black people? What's right with Black people? Or why do we uh, grow and advance to certain points, but then we seem to go backwards? I think the response of MAAFA is we have not grieved our losses. We have not given space to honor the sacrifices of those. We have basically moved on without working through and healing. And so this MAAFA production, in connection to the professional work that both Gina LaVon Simpson and I do, is pastorally and therapeutically guiding people through the trauma in order that healing can take place. As part of our initial theme, evoking the pain of the past, that is facing those things that we traditionally want to avoid in order to build a strong and powerful future, both on individual levels as well as community-wide levels. Really, you can't grow and free yourself from something unless you're willing to address it head on. And this
Absolutely.
production seeks to address the brutality that our ancestors faced, and the entire system of education, religion, governmental systems justified the mistreatment of our ancestors, the
I love
inhumane
that.
treatment of our ancestors.
So if I were fresh off the street and I'm listening right now, I turn this on and I hear you speaking about the MAAFA production that's happening this Saturday. We all know that you describe this or coin this as this is not another church play. It's bigger than that. It's larger than that. Tell us, for those that are on the fence, I want to go. I need to know more about it. What should they expect when they arrive for this production?
Gina?
Well, I would say, wow, it's a lot. But what they will be engaged in having our history being enlarged on the stage. So it's an opportunity to be able to grasp what is in our history books and sense it and feel it, because it is an experience to be able to come to the production. And so they will see generations of people who are on that stage, because we want to represent who we were then, and allow people to see the power of our ancestors' faith and how they transformed the pain that they went to into power. And so this will be on the stage, it will be in the aisles, they will be able to sense it, they will be able to feel it, and they will have the opportunity to release as well through some of the things, because we're telling our soul stories.
Yeah.
And they will be able to identify with some of the people that are on the stage, and maybe even identify with those who they remember from the past: great grandmama, great granddaddy, grandpa, some of the things that they've said, and those aha moments. This is what it really means. And this is why I should be able to engage and get as much history as possible that I need so that I can move forward in life.
I love it.
And
And you have your hand in writing. Go ahead, Pastor.
I would simply say, I would add to that, I think Gina said it wonderfully. To your question, those who are on the fence, the fact that they would be on the fence about some cultural event that really affirms them, the invitation is extended But if they're ready to receive that affirmation, some may not. This is ultimately an invitation of healing, sacred memory, and we pray that you will be open. But maybe this is not the time for you, and that's okay too. But for us, we are celebrating that for 20 years, thousands upon thousands of adults, high school students, college students, seminarians, and people from around the country have found joy, wholeness, healing in this production. And we invite those who are open to it to
Mhm.
experience it with us.
And speaking of the time, you do this production each year. Tell us
Yes,
why you choose to do it every year.
because there's always more stories to tell. And I think most other cultures have rituals and processes by which they honor those that came before them. And so I think we deserve that, particularly in the church. But it's not
Mhm.
limited to the church. But we ought to take time in the midst of our progress to reflect and remember those who helped make our progress possible.
Love it. Miss Simpson, we know that you had a hand in writing. Pastor, are you going to be starring in this production?
No, that was a direct answer, right?
You know,
Let
I
me
had
share
to
this,
ask.
if I can, just share this very quickly.
Absolutely.
For 20 years, and Gina Levon Simpson is the primary director. Let's be
Okay.
clear. She has been the director. There have been others, but she was the one that originated in 2004. As a pastor, I get great joy that from the first time we had 250 cast and crew to
Mm.
the ensemble we have this year, 20 years later, they're no professional actors. These are men and women of our community and our congregation who lend themselves to telling the stories of our ancestors. And that is a privilege as a pastor, knowing what individuals have gone through and are going through in their personal life, to then transcend those dynamics to honor the ancestors. It is a feeling that every pastor desires to have. So I won't be there physically on the stage. I'll be near the stage,
Okay.
but but I get a joy out of watching these men and women, young and old, share their gifts and their talents on stage.
Bring your Kleenex because you will weep. You can already tell there will be tears flowing. How do we get tickets?
You can call Mount Airy 203-334-2757, or you can log on to our website, www.mtaerbaptist.org.
And I'm going to share the video on Facebook and on our social media pages for the station and also on our website so you can check that out as well. Rain or shine this Saturday, November 2nd, doors open at 6:30. I want to thank you both again, Ms. Simpson and Pastor Bennett, for your time. Any final words before we wrap that you would want everyone to know?
I'd like to say that I just got a text from Veronica that there just might be some tickets available at the door as
Okay.
well. So, but get them online.
Get on. You don't want to take that chance. Get them
That's right.
online.
That's
Don't
right.
Online.
wait until you get to the door. There you go. I want
Yes.
to thank you so much for joining me and you, family. Keep it locked in. If you missed anything, you know you can always call me and I will give you the information you need. Stay locked in with me. More great music right here on WYBC 94.3, the rhythm of the city.